In the previous video, we looked briefly at the problem of evil and two interpretations of the biblical devil: the mainstream Christian view, in which the devil is seen as a real person, a fallen angel, and the Christadelphian view, in which the devil is seen as a figure of speech, the personification of sin. Before considering the biblical evidence, it is important to consider our presuppositions, our biases. We all have them, and in theology, as in many fields of inquiry, where you start often determines where you finish. Now, it is not realistic to ask that we abandon all our presuppositions. However, we should at least be aware of them so that we can try to keep them in check. Let me start by stating some of my own presuppositions in this study. I believe that there is one all-powerful God, and that the Bible is his written revelation to mankind. I don't believe God dictated the text word for word. He allowed the human writers to preserve their own styles and cultural contexts through the process of inspiration. Nevertheless, I believe the Bible is authoritative for deciding matters of divine truth. Of course, many people do not share this belief, and so I would not expect them to share my conclusions. When it comes to the subject at hand, the devil and Satan, there are particular presuppositions that cannot be ignored. People in many parts of the world are culturally preconditioned to believe in supernatural forces of evil, such as ghosts and spirits. Certainly this was the case in the ancient cultures within which the scriptures were written. Conversely, in modern Western culture over the past 4 centuries, science has become the measuring stick for determining whether or not something exists. That is to say, many people living in Western Europe and North America are culturally preconditioned to reject claims of the supernatural as unscientific and irrational. This scientific rationalistic bias comes out in the arguments of the early Christadelphian writers, such as Thomas Williams, who wrote concerning the devil that, quote, "There is no need for calling in the supernatural, where the natural will answer all the requirements of the case," end quote. He concluded that personal experience was enough for any rational man to rule out the idea of an external supernatural tempter. Robert Roberts likewise praised the scientific intellect of John Thomas as qualifying him for the work of an apostle. There are also important presuppositions that need to be highlighted concerning the traditional Christian doctrine of the devil. The picture that many of us have in our minds of a leering red fellow with a pitchfork is a caricature from popular culture rather than church dogma. Moreover, Robert Roberts wrote that, quote, "In the religion of Christendom, the devil figures almost more prominently than God," end quote. This may be an accurate indictment of overzealous preachers, or it may be a gross exaggeration. Such mythical and disproportionate images can cause us to be dismissive rather than measured in our approach to this important subject. We will do ourselves a big favor if we allow God's Word the authority to overrule our presuppositions about the supernatural realm and who or what the devil might or might not be.